Cedar Rapids is the city of 5 seasons. And I think you're up to 5 breweries at least by now, right?
Probably a little more than that.
Isn't that something else? We are at the latest and greatest in Cedar Rapids. This is Thew Brewing. And if that name sounds ridiculous, you're not wrong. But well, maybe you're a little wrong. Thew is spelled T-H-E-W.
Nailed it.
Very good.
And you guys, by the way, this is Travis and Haley. You guys came up with the name for Thew Brewing. That's not a family name, right?
It is not.
It's just something you got from the Google machine.
Basically,
Just
yes.
like everything good, it came from Google.
So you decide to let's go to where it all began. You guys are a couple and you're home brewers, right?
We haven't had a lot of time for that lately, but
that's how this
played
kind of
meaningfully.
got started. That's how you got into this whole game, right? Like,
Right.
how long have you been in love with craft beer specifically?
Me, about 7 or 8 years, I suppose, is when I started to really get into it.
And then,
yeah, roughly the same. It kind of snowballed. I found a beer in college that nobody else would drink out of my fridge. It was
what was that beer?
that
What
was
started this thing?
Newcastle, the brown ale.
Oh, I guess it's a great beer. So then you guys started home brewing then and there, just as you didn't have enough to clean in your house. I mean, it's a weird hobby to have, right?
It kind of is, yeah.
A little bit. It's a lot of fun though, and you have a good chance to make some really good beer, and it's something to do.
Right. So you started home brewing years and years ago. You started making beer. Are any of the beers, because you guys don't make the beer here, you run the place and own the place.
Correct.
You don't make the beer here. You've got a different brewer for that.
That's right.
Are any of the beers here at Thew your own recipes?
Not yet. We've got one coming up here in the next month or so that will be one of our original recipes.
Well, by the time this airs, that'll be available. So
Ooh,
spill the
that's
beans.
true. Well, it's going to be a rather delightful raspberry wheat.
Okay.
Should be quite a thirst quencher, but not too light.
We came here because we're always scouting locations. And by the way, scouting locations is, you call it drinking on a Friday night. When you have a beer TV show, we call it scouting locations. But we were here in March. I think you guys were open like 48 hours, and the place was packed. And sometimes when a brewery just opens up, there's kind of a learning curve. There's kind of a, it's not fair to judge a brewery when you originally go to a place that just opens up, right? Mm-hmm. The beer was amazing like day one here.
Thank you.
So what's up with that?
You put people in a position to succeed, and you trust them to do that. So you get yourself a really good brewer that knows what they're doing, and you let them loose. That's basically it.
Tell me about where we're at in Cedar Rapids. Why was it important to have Thew here in this part of Cedar Rapids?
So this is Kingston Village, and it's one of the last neighborhoods in Cedar Rapids to be revitalized after the 2008 flood. So, downtown's booming, and Nubo is really up and coming, and Czech Village is bouncing back, and then this neighborhood was kind of like, there's nothing going on here. And within the last 6 months or so, a coffee shop has opened around the corner. There's a restaurant just down the block. So this is kind of the area to be in Cedar Rapids.
So what was it about this building that attracted you to it?
I don't know. We walked in. There was nothing in here when we walked in. Like, these walls didn't exist.
I heard the
no
ceiling was
floors.
painted
The
black.
ceiling was black. There
Yeah.
are 40 gallons of white paint on the ceiling to make it as white as it is now.
Right on.
We walked in and we could just tell it was something special.
Can we walk through the flight here?
Yeah, you bet.
So where should I start? The wheat?
Start over here with the wheat. So this beer, this is what you talking about, Willis Datey,
Okay.
and it is an unfiltered.
Assume I'm from out of town. Willis Datey.
So Willis Datey is the homeless shelter here in Cedar Rapids,
Okay.
Willis Datey Homeless Services. And before we opened, we were approached by them to do their annual fundraiser, which is a beer fest called Hops for Housing.
Oh, I've been to that, yeah.
So we were super jazzed about it. And of course, we wanted to do a custom beer for them and for the shelter. So we did what you talking about, Willis Datey. We had it premiered at their event, so they had it exclusive for their event. And then a dollar for every pint we sell here in the tap room goes back to Willis Datey Homeless Services.
Mary, the producer's telling me I've got beer all over my beard. Mary, the best.
It's called a beard.
Right? Well, thanks for keeping me honest, Mary. This is really good. And I was going to say this, the world does not move to the beat of just one drum. So what might be right for you may not be right for some.
Thank you.
Anytime I can quote
thanks for
different
picking that
strokes
up.
on this show, I'm going to do it.
There are quite a few people who
That's really
haven't
good.
gotten the reference, which makes me sad.
That is sad. That I guess the millennials aren't familiar with different strokes.
Nope, and
You kids didn't grow up with different strokes, did you?
It's really unfortunate.
Look it up on the YouTube. It's quality television. Classy. And then finally, you've got the Kolsch, which I imagine is going to be super popular. I keep seeing a lot of people riding bikes around here.
Yes, we
This
were
seems like
very
something
close to the bike
A
trail.
bike rider would come and want to pound a Kolsch all summer long, yes?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very easy drinking. It's good for the people who come in and say, I don't drink craft beer. What do you have that's close to regular beer?
Right.
Which is my least favorite term, regular beer.
Right.
But this is the Kingston Kolsch, and people really seem to be responding well to it. People who don't like beer seem to like it.
See, but this doesn't taste like a macro beer at all. This is a really wonderful representation of a Kolsch. This is, wow, you could drink a lot of these.
It is pretty dangerous, yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of
Wow.
our closest attempt at something for the not beer drinkers and the beer drinkers. It's a really good connection between the two.
Because it's important to you guys. I mean, you're here in this neighborhood. You want to revitalize this part of town. You want to make sure that you're welcoming everybody, not just people that are hopheads that want to be, impressed, or people that are going to drink it and tell you what you did wrong because they're home brewers.
Yep.
They're the worst, aren't they, home brewers? They're just the worst.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, he'll say that on the camera. No, he means that.
We love
but you have to be inviting, and I mean, you've built this space here that is very open and inviting and welcoming, and the beer is certainly very accessible, but not unchallenging to people who like craft beer.
Thank you.
I love your beer, guys.
That's what we're going for.
I didn't mean to make this weird, but I think what you're doing here is really good. Thew Brewing in Cedar Rapids. You can't miss it. You're not too far from the other breweries, so
No,
you wanted to
it's
make a day of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people going from one to another to another to another,
Absolutely.
just making a whole Saturday out of it.
Yep.
So when you come to Cedar Rapids, don't skip this place because it's phenomenal, and you're the newest players. Thew Brewing in Cedar Rapids. Cheers. What's that called again? Zadar?
Zadar. So Zadar, it was actually a horror film.
That's like radar for zebras.
It was a horror film.
Like if you're wondering, is that a zebra? Only zebras have it. Zebras can use their Zadar to know when another zebra's at a club. That's what a Zadar is.
Holy cow,
She
they're
just flashed
flashing us. Cedar Rapids is the
I know.
best. We just got
We're gonna
flashed.
get that on video. We'll
Yeah,
sell
the
it. We'll be
cameras are
packed.
pointed the wrong way.
We'll be packed tomorrow.
That waitress fully flashed us.
Lots of Lonely Nights. That's named after a buddy of yours who didn't have a lot of success with the ladies or fellas or.
That's putting it lightly.